Hello YouTube and welcome to an all new Elder Scrolls lore video. Today we're talking about Sweetrolls, the tasty treat that almost everyone in Tamriel seems to be addicted to. This video will have a bit of a lighter tone than my usual Elder Scrolls lore videos, but it's still a legitimate lore video, so don't go into this expecting some sort of meme video or early April Fool's video. Anyway, today will be quite a short video, so let's immediately get into the lore. So, the Sweetroll, a tasty little treat that is the most famous treat and an undisputed favorite treat of many people across Tamriel. The treat itself consists out of a small baked cake with icing on top. Quite simple, but yet the long taffy treat, sugar treats and all types of breakfast, lunch, dinner or dessert dishes really pale in comparison to the Sweetroll to many people in Tamriel. This simple, cake-like treat is the absolute king of Tamrielic cuisine to a large part of Tamriel's population. And it's been that way for ages, as references to the Sweetroll can be found in texts from the early Second Era, but its exact history isn't quite clear to us unfortunately, nor is its origins, as we usually only find references in text to how tasty the Sweetroll is and not to anything specific as to its origin. This means that the Sweetroll could be much older than the beginning of the Second Era. If I'd have to speculate, and then I really mean speculate, because there's no real grounds for any official history or official speculation on the matter, I'd say that the Sweetroll's history is likely similar to that of the cupcake in our real world. The cupcake most likely came to be as a small cake for handing out to people, baking small cakes separately to avoid having to cut a larger cake and thus shorten the baking process by decreasing the volume of the individual cakes and giving the ability to bake multiple at once due to their size. It's quite likely that the Sweetroll came to be in a similar fashion, where there was probably some form of cake with icing which people really liked, and then for example at a festival or something, someone started baking smaller versions of the cake for a handout, and that just caught on. Most likely the Sweetroll came to be in one of the bigger cities, or at least rose to prominence in one of the bigger cities on Tamriel. Maybe during an event or something, where there were some guests from all over Tamriel that attended, thus explaining the quick spread of the Sweetroll over Tamriel, as these guests would have taken them home, or at least would have taken the idea of a Sweetroll home. But keep in mind that all this history that I just told you could be completely bogus, as we know nothing of the Sweetroll's origin, it's simply speculation. You know, people often ask me to speculate more on things on this channel that really matter, and well, can't say that I didn't. But you know, this speculation of history is kinda based on something, as making Sweetrolls is kind of similar to making cupcakes, and thus I suspect that their history could be linked, or at least somewhat similar. You see, via the official Elder Scrolls cookbook we learn that the Sweetroll is made by creating a dough mix consisting of butter, milk and honey, to which salt, yeast, egg and flour is added. Since these ingredients exist in both the Elder Scrolls universe and our own universe, I think the ingredients in the Elder Scrolls universe are likely the same as those in the real world variant from the official Elder Scrolls cookbook. Anyway, that mix needs to be poured into smaller shapes for baking, similar to how cupcake dough is also poured into smaller shapes for baking. From the Elder Scrolls Online we know that this process is executed by using a special Sweetroll pastry pan that professional bakers have. These pans have smaller sections to pour dough in and then bake the individual Sweetrolls in an oven. And then once the baking is done, you'll have to pour the icing over the Sweetrolls, which is made out of cream, some cheese, butter and powdered sugar. This is the recipe for a regular Sweetroll, and as you probably deduced, the dough and the icing can also be used to make bigger Sweetroll cakes, hence my speculation that it probably came from bigger cakes and then they just made smaller ones for handouts. Over the years we've seen two variants of the Sweetroll, one in Oblivion, as you can see they appear as some sort of cupcakes, while in Skyrim, Blades and Legends they appear as the Sweetrolls that we all know and love. Meanwhile in the Elder Scrolls Online in the Second Era we see both variants existing at the same time, the cupcake one and the regular Sweetroll one, meaning that there's likely multiple variations of Sweetrolls. Perhaps there are even regional variants, for example Hammerfell spiced ones, or one from Valenwood which has all sorts of meat in it according to the Green Pact. But if such variants exist, we don't really have any documentation of them existing in the canon at the moment. Except for this one, which we got on Valentine's Day or Heart's Day in the Elder Scrolls Legends, which is now also a canon form of Sweetroll, so confirming the multiple types of Sweetrolls. How exactly such a simple dish has led to an almost cult-like status? I have no idea, but people have literally become addicted to Sweetrolls to a point where some would apparently die without one, and some people would literally beat up others in order to steal their Sweetrolls for their own consumption. Of course, this has become somewhat of a running gag in the series of people stealing other people's Sweetrolls, but still, if it's more than a joke, it could point to a systemic problem. Sweetrolls were even used during the Second Era as a calling card by a mysterious murderer in Kvatch called the Sweetroll Killer. This killer would bake threatening notes into Sweetrolls and have them delivered to future victims, marking them for death. It's also one of the more interesting quests in the game, so play that quest, the Sweetroll Killer, if you want a good mystery quest. Anyway, back to the Sweetroll itself. Something else that we know is that the Sweetroll, when baked by a baker and gets handed out to people, it gets packed in some form of paper. I honestly didn't know where to leave this in the script, but it's canon lore, so we're putting it in. What's clear is that the Sweetroll has almost cult-like status. Crystal figurines are made of Sweetrolls, small totems carved out of wood, and even adoring songs, one of which is the Liturgy of the Holy Sweetroll, which we can find in the Elder Scrolls Online. I won't bore you with the entire song because I can't sing, and I won't sing in this video, but the first verse goes like this. All hail the Holy Sweetroll, fluffy, gooey, warm and sweet. All hail the Holy Sweetroll, all hail this delicious treat. And then you have 4 more verses like that. So yeah, if that isn't obsession, I don't really know what is. Anyway, that's literally all the confirmed lore and my own speculation that I could do upon the confirmed lore on the Sweetroll. A bit of a short and different video, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, consider returning next week for the next Elder Scrolls lore video on the channel, which will be on a regular subject again. Before we end things, allow me to vocally thank my top patrons, Mr. Bernardo Binda, Gabriel Binda, Sword of Bushido, Zar Mikhail and Mr. Christmas. These amazing people, along with all the other Patreon supporters you currently see on screen, make my weekly lore videos possible, and for that I am very grateful. So, with that behind us, I'll see you all later in the next Elder Scrolls lore video. Bye bye.